Hi, we're back and we're ready to start our compost lesson. So let's come into our outdoor classroom and we'll come around. And so job number 1 is put away your water bottle. And job number 2 is come around the table and get ready to listen with no side talk. Okay, because as we well know, that love grows in our garden, and so we have to be really considerate of each other and really listen so carefully. I think I need to move these wonderful things here that Dylan's mom gave to us, so then you can see better. And this lesson builds on the last one that you guys had before you left, and that one was our lesson on the secret of the seeds. So I think that you remember very well our huge seed delivery systems. We had our maraca here, our gourd, and then we had our gigantic caveman gourd, biggest ones I've ever seen. And then we had our delivery systems from our own garden, our huge sunflower seed. Okay, and those were our delivery systems for our secret of seeds. However, it is so important, and you have to do this. You can't just do this one time. You have to do this every time you plant. When you plant your fall garden, when you plant your spring garden, if you have a summer garden. So, because if you want to grow your garden, first you have to grow your soil. Now, so if you want to have a healthy garden, you have to do 5 things. So I have the 5-fingered compost lesson. Can you see okay with these gourds here, or do I need to move them? Are they okay? All right, good. So now let's get started. The first thing that I have to do, of course, is put on my apron, because I don't have you guys here to be my helper. So I'll get my apron on, so I'm not going to get all muddy. And then with our 5-fingered compost recipe. So ingredient number 1, if you want to grow your garden, is, oh, by the way, excuse me before I start that, this, of course, our materials, of course, and this is going to be not just my demonstration garden this time. This is going to be our demonstration compost pit that we have out in the back. Okay, and it has natural drainage, so there's no anaerobic bacteria that can get growing underneath. We know that we have to have that natural drainage for our compost, no matter how you do it. So even if you want to do this at home, you got to figure out with your family how you get natural drainage. So ingredient number 1 to make good compost is from our garden or from our yard here at school. It's brown organic material. That means it's material that once was living. So this I'm going to break up, and this provides a really important element, one of those basic elements from our periodic charted elements that you remember from your classroom when you're looking at your atoms. This is carbon. Okay, hear that crunch? And carbon is an element that provides structure. It provides structure to our body from our bones, calcium carbonate. It provides structure to, like for our trees, for their bark. It provides structure for really everything that is living. Such an important element. If we don't have enough carbon, you're not going to have a healthy garden. Now, the next thing that we have to have is green organic material, and this provides nitrogen. And we know that nitrogen is a gas, an element, a basic element that's a gas, and it occurs naturally in our atmosphere. However, the plants have to fix nitrogen into their own roots, so because it's really important for them doing their process of photosynthesis. So we have to have green. So if you look at how nature's doing it, if nature's making this compost and it's leaves that are falling down or creatures, whatever, it's all the same stuff, but you have to have the carbon and you have to have the nitrogen. Okay, so ingredient number 2 is green for nitrogen. There you go. I've got a lot of nitrogen in there. Now, ingredient number 3, and this is my favorite one, this is nothing but just plain dirt, soil, whatever you want to call it, earth. And this is so important because microscopically inside, right here, I have in my hand as many living microbial life forms that there are human beings on this whole planet. There's at least 10 billion right here in my hand. and they occur anywhere in the whole soil around the whole earth. However, they're dormant. And we know from our Latin root that that means dorme, it means sleeping. So these guys are sleeping. So, and I'm going to sprinkle them on. Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle on the microbes. Now, that microbial life has to have ingredient number 4. Ingredient number 4 to make good soil, and that is water, or H2O. Okay, now, the reason why water does all these amazing things is because it's H2O, and we know that that has 2 hydrogen molecules and 1 oxygen, and it has like a slight charge that when something pulls together a compound, usually it stays that way. This is the most amazing one because because of those weak, you have 2 hydrogens right here and 1 big old oxygen right here, that there's an electrical charge on these hydrogen molecule atoms, and they can therefore slide over each other. That's why we have a liquid. Okay, so now, but when they get up, when they dissipate into the atmosphere, when it gets hot, then you still have the molecule, but it can break apart very easily. Then when it gets really cold with the temperature, then it comes together and it makes a solid, it makes like a crystalline structure. But the fact that it is a liquid, that's why we're alive. If we could not have that liquid flowing through our whole body, we wouldn't even be alive. The plants wouldn't be alive. It's just such an amazing thing. Now, so this water, this H2O that it's so easy to take it for granted, and it's such an amazing, miraculous thing. So, I'm going to sprinkle, 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 sprinkle on some water. And what this does to that microbial life, it activates them. It makes them they actually come alive. So, well, they're already alive, but they're dormant. But it activates them, okay? So now, when they wake up, they're really hungry, and guess what they love to eat? They absolutely love to eat, first and foremost, carbon. They love to eat nitrogen, and they break this all down with their digestive process. But they have to have ingredient number 5, and that ingredient is oxygen. We have to have the same thing. How we digest things is if we breathe in the oxygen from the atmosphere. If we don't do that, it's like water. Nothing happens. I mean, it's just so amazing that those basic elements affect all of life. And those simple principles, they seem like they're so complex, but the processes that they produce are complex, but still underlying it, there's this beautiful, wonderful simplicity. So here we go. Now, I showed you this before in the garden. So I am going to aerate now. I'm going to go push, turn with my tool, by the way, with my handle and my tines, which are sharp. And when you're out in the garden, you got to be really careful. So if you're carrying it, just like scissors, you hold the point down so you don't get hurt. Down, down, down to the ground. Then you do push, turn, push, turn, push, turn, until you get all this, a lot of oxygen from the atmosphere that's right here inside of all this soil. Now, so with this hidden process going on of the water and the oxygen, you're going to have this amazing, miraculous thing that if you were in nature, let's say these things we just put in here, they fall off from a tree, okay? And there's microbial life that's in the soil that they fall down into. To turn into good, rich soil like this, it would take basically 2 years, and that's if you have a lot of rain. But if you don't, they can just turn into what I call just like compost mummies. They'll just stay like just really dry, and nothing will happen without the water and without the oxygen. So now it's like this. So that whole microbial process is happening. It has the oxygen, it has the water, it has the carbon, it has the nitrogen. So what we're doing, we can make soil, fabulous soil that you can put back in your garden, so that the amazing thing, look what this soil does, okay? Now let's pretend this has been here only for 2 months. Isn't that amazing? I'm teaching you guys how to make good, rich soil in 2 months, whereas in nature, it'll take 2 whole years. So what happens is now it's all broken down into its elemental components of minerals and other compounds, but the minerals are the same thing we need. Our body is built out of minerals. So look at this. If I put water in it, it turns into, look at that. Isn't that fabulous? That is compost tea, Therefore, now that it's all these teeny tiny particles, the roots can now slurp it right up into the whole plant and you have health. But without that process of compost, I'm telling you, this whole earth, we would be covered with so much garbage, miles and miles of garbage. So we couldn't even be living. Yeah, so it's amazing. All right, now, so this is what happens. It is just an amazing process. And now I don't want you to ever, please never forget this lesson. It is such an important lesson. And it's so simple. You got 5 fingers. They help you to grow. And 5 fingers are going to help the whole garden to grow. Okay, now, and whenever that process is happening and you know it, then you have a rise in the temperature because when those compounds break up, they release heat and the temperature in your garden gets to be, in your compost pit, gets to be up to 120 degrees. Now, right now, because it's wet and cool, this is about 65 degrees. But when it really starts working, that's what's going to happen. Okay, so let's go out to our compost pit, and I'm going to show you in reality, and I wish you were here to do it yourselves, how this really works. Okay, so on the way, I think that, well, we already fed our tortoises. Maybe I'll give them an apple on the way. So let's walk out here. Oh, that breeze is so fabulous, just to feel on my face. Oh, yay, springtime. Okay, you guys, come on, tortoise babies. Here, you want a bite? Come on, guys. Come on, tortoises. I'm breaking this up without my knife. There you go. There you go. Aha, they love it. Okay, let's go on out to our compost pit out here. All this is really like an indentation in the earth. You can make it so easily. Or you could do yours in like at home, you can do it like in a bucket, as long as you have holes and that natural drainage underneath. Okay, so now we're on our way out here. You can see we still have our wheelbarrow where we take the hay out to the barn. We've got our alfalfa over there. Here we have our compost pit. Now, right here, I'm going to do the same thing. All right. So I have brown for what? Carbon. Right. So I break up the carbon and I put it into our compost. Now right here, I have green that provides nitrogen. I can have leaves, just anything at all. And so sprinkle, 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 sprinkle on the nitrogen. Okay, now I have to do step number 3, which is, do you recall? I have to add what? These dormant microbes. So I just have one little shovel of plain old dirt, and I'm going to sprinkle, 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 sprinkle on millions and billions of microbes here. Okay, then ingredient number 4 is H2O, our water, and that's going to just wake up those lazy microbes. Okay, guys, wake up and start doing your job. Okay. And as soon as they have water, they're going to really start to stretch out and to start digesting all that plant material. Then, the last ingredient, the same thing we have to do, we have to have for our digestion is what? Oxygen, that O2, oxygen. So, this is like a gigantic fork, okay? It's like a garden composter tool. Okay, look at this. So now I'm getting a lot of oxygen in here. Ooh, aha, look at that. Aha, okay, look at that. This, you guys, we did this school year. All we used here are scraps from our garden, scraps from, we don't use protein here. Like out in nature, if an animal dies, that could be turned into compost also. But we don't want to have any kind of a smell. So this is just fruit and vegetables, and look at that. We did that ourselves. Well, I mean the microbes did it, but you want to smell that? It just smells like fabulous, good earth. Look at that. Now this we have to put back into our compost because it then makes that fabulous what I was talking about. I have some water left. Makes that compost tea. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I just, that whole process, it just is, to me, it's stunning. Okay, because nature is so beautiful. So, to sum up, I have our little song. Okay, so if you want to grow your garden, first you have to grow your soil. And to grow your soil, you have to have 5 things. So you have to have brown for carbon, ingredient number 2. You have to have green for nitrogen, ingredient number 3. Soil for microbes, ingredient number 4. Water to activate the microbes, ingredient number 5. Oxygen to get everything going. Now, there's not one thing that you can think of that you eat that does not come from the dirt. You can call it soil, you can call it compost, whatever. But it's nonetheless, it's the same thing that everybody needs. So, here's a song. Dirt made my lunch. Thanks, dirt a bunch. You made the lettuce and you made the cheese. You made the meat and even the fruit. Thanks, dirt a bunch. 'Cause I loved my lunch. Okay, I love you guys, and I just can't wait until you come back and we're going to be doing this all together. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.